Hello there, friends and RC family. My name is Alec from High Noon Hobbies, and if you are new to this channel, I very much appreciate you checking it out. I hope that you will stick around, watch at least this video, see if this content seems worth your while, and consider subscribing so that then I can say to you, if you aren't new here, welcome back to yet another Friday upload. This time, we are taking a look at two competitors that you might not consider putting together or putting head-to-head, putting up against one another. And this is, well, I wouldn't blame you for that, but I think it's going to be an interesting run nonetheless. See, this time at the North vs. South Utah RC Crawling Championship, I was watching T run through the unlimited courses in his Class 2 rig. Now, T is known to be quite a scale builder. He tends to build a lot of his rigs for the trail, and I think he started out trailing, so he is that's kind of where a lot of his passion is in creating really scale looking rigs, but he still makes them super competitive. Now that we've started getting into the comp scene a little bit more as a group, T has taken the scale rigs to the next level, and he makes them perform amazingly in competitive 10 gate scenarios. So we're going to take a look at T running his Class 2 rig, which is a Toyota that's built up with a cage and everything like that, so it's got plenty of weight to deal with, but it does have a winch, which is going to come in handy here. He's going to take his Class 2 rig through a Class 3 course, and then we're going to compare that run up against Thomas from FABN801 to see if Thomas can run his MOA rig through any faster or beat T on his points. So I don't know if you guys have any ideas as to what might happen here, but let's take a look. Let's just jump right into these runs. Alright, first up here we are going to take a look at T's run through the unlimited course in his Class 2 rig. As you can see, sitting there looking a little out of place here in the lineup of unlimited rigs. Right behind him we have Taylor's four-wheel steer or all-wheel steer Wraith that's got dig, and so this is definitely not quite the place to bring a Class 2 truck normally, but T is going to dare to try. He's getting a little bit of pre-course advice here from ScumbagRC, or Luke from ScumbagRC, and we have Cletus here to judge this run, so it's just a whole group of sluts, and we're going to have a good time. We're getting right into it, and the first couple gates here aren't too crazy, but T starts off with a little bit of a pucker factor moment here right out of the get-go. As you can see, he's really dropping that driver's side rear tire very, very close to that aero cone, and luckily that cliff doesn't push him out any further until he makes it up the first little ledge portion there, and he clears that cone and makes it through that first gate clean. Now we're going to head into the gate number 2 here. This is a nasty ledge that's just a little bit off camber, and no big deal for most of these MOA trucks, but it definitely looks pretty massive here with the Class 2 truck trying to get over it. Belly's out just a little bit there, but beautiful throttle control. He makes it through gate number 2 clean. We're going into gate number 3, which is the first one that really started giving unlimited competitors some serious trouble, and right out of the gate you can see that he unfortunately loses balance on that crazy side hill, can't quite recover in time, and bounces over the gate and gets his first points of the run. You can see as he's approaching gate number 4 there, he decides he doesn't like that line coming into the uphill climb at far too much of an angle, and so he resets. I think that was a very good call. That one there for just a moment, it almost looks like he hit that aero cone on the bottom just because of the angle that we were at, but I can assure you that he actually didn't. His bumper kind of skirted himself up, and he ended up just an inch or so above the cone before his tire started to hang over it, so we're going to call that a clean gate. And now we're moving on to the first bonus here of this unlimited course. This is a rough bonus for someone with so much weight up high like you've got on a Class 2 rig. Luckily, T has a winch, so he's going to pull that out and make quick work of the first bonus gate there, bringing him back down to a 3 for just his one winch, eliminating that 10 points for the gate. Now here, an unfortunate moment, he's going to grab his controller, and I don't know if this was a technical error or if he ended up just bumping pumping the throttle, but he ended up blipping himself with a reverse. I'm not going to count the reverse because obviously it was very unintentional and ended up getting him into an even worse spot than, well, I mean, he was in a pretty good spot, so I don't know why he would have done that intentionally. But here we are, he's got to take a winch, unfortunately, to get back into an upright position, and he's going to wrap it around the axle, as you can see there. So he's bringing it around from the front to the rear, around the rear axle, which is a nice little lineup here. A good trick, if you're not familiar with it, to upright yourself without having to take a rollover, so you save yourself a couple of points. And as you can see, it worked quite well there for T. He's got his rig upright now. He's going to alleviate the tension on the winch, bring it back around his axle, and then use his winch controller, bring it around the back, and bring some tension back into the winch. He was saying during this period in time that he definitely wished he had a better setup on his controller for his winch system. With how many times he was going to have to use the winch on this course, this is definitely something that he talked about quite a bit afterwards. So I hope, T, that in the future you've got a more dialed winch system, or you figure out something better with this one, because I definitely remember you saying that that was one of your main pain points of this particular run. Headed into this next gate here above the bonus. I believe this is this 5? I don't want to say what number it is without knowing for sure. I lost track because that bonus was just so much action. But we're going to winch once again through this. This is a pretty good call here. This is just an absolutely disgusting climb. As you can see, a really ridiculous side hill, and really only one way to approach the side hill, because you've got basically a V-notch that you're matching up to or squaring up to. Okay, it is gate number 5. And so a lot of the MOA rigs, they've got both front and rear dig, and so they can kind of push and pull and tension and alleviate tension, pressure different points, and get themselves kind of squared up to that gate more, even though the terrain is really nasty. In a Class 2 truck like this, you really don't have the option, and so you just have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. And in this situation, that meant using a winch, which I think was absolutely the right call on T's part. Now we're headed here into gate number 6. This was a very nasty descent, and the gates were located at the bottom of the descent. And this one even screwed up some unlimited drivers. Unfortunately, my gimbal there freaking out for just a moment, but I can assure you that T actually did make it through that gate clean. It was a beautiful descent, and it was really all about throttle control there and wheel placement, just making sure he was locking in that rear wheel into that little crack above the descent. And then same for this one, you just want to take your time through that. Not a big deal, but descents obviously can definitely get you all sorts of squirrely if you're not watching your throttle input and making sure that your wheel placement is good. Here, I almost thought that T was going to make it over the second bonus line without needing a winch, which I thought was incredible that he even made it that far up with a Class 2 rig without needing a winch. But the belly unfortunately stopped it there, so he had to take up the 3 points. But looking good after that second bonus, coming in at a +2, and we're past the halfway mark at this point, so he's just got to keep the run clean from here on out. This nasty little side hill, but no problem for a very planted Class 2 rig like T's. Headed into gate number 9 is just an absolutely disgusting ascent. You can see the vertical angle there is pushing T's rear bumper into the ground. He gives it a couple of good shots with just the throttle blips. Unfortunately, he is unable to make it into a more grippy area or make it over that breakover angle, so he decides to pull the winch out, bringing him up to a 5, but he gets through gate number 9 clean here. And he only has one more gate now to make it through, so let's see how he does here. This descent off of gate number 9 is actually pretty nasty, but T's throttle control there, it was absolutely beautiful. He kept himself very well squared up to that descent, and he was able to make his way off that ledge without any sort of problems. Here, just scraping that cage just ever so slightly as he comes down this little tunnel area here. I really like that section of the course. Gets a little squirrely slowly as he's coming around for the turnaround to gate number 10, but nothing that's too big of a deal. And now we are going to take a look at gate number 10. There's a giant chasm there, and he immediately decides that the right move is to winch across. I don't know, he could have made it potentially, but by the way he would have dropped off of that ledge, he probably would have just gone bumper straight into the rock and maybe would have had to winch anyways. So starting off with it is just a safe option, and I think a good option overall. I'm going to be holding Luke's shoelace here, but we're going to end at just about a 730 with an 8 and jump straight into Thomas's run. Let's see how this goes. Now, unfortunately, I missed the first 2 gates for Thomas here, so we're going to be jumping in at gate number 3, but this is where the real action starts, so let's see how it goes. Thomas from FABN801 using his MOA rig here. This is a very, very capable rig. This is an absolute lizard on the rocks, if you will, and basically, if you don't know what an MOA rig is, this is motor on axle. So essentially that means unlike the way that we typically see trucks set up on this channel, where the motor is located centrally within the truck and then uses either a transmission and a gearbox, or just a transmission to allocate that power to the front and rear axles via a typical driveline setup like you would see on a normal 1-to-1 scale truck. This particular truck, oh, and we've got a little spill there. Thomas recovering quickly after his little spill. This rock is a little bit deceiving. There were some certain spots that were grippy, and then other spots that were totally covered in dirt and super not grippy. I ended up walking on that area a couple times that Thomas slipped on, and it was definitely pretty treacherous over there. But as I was saying, an MOA rig has motor on axle, so instead of using that typical driveline setup, it inputs power directly from the motor station on the axle into the axle. That brings your center of gravity down far lower, and that obviously makes quick work of crazy ascents like that bonus line, that first bonus line that we saw T have to winch over and then unfortunately end up reversing back over. But Thomas is going to head into gate number 5 here, and this is really quite an interesting one. I do apologize for not getting a little bit closer in on these runs. For one, I didn't want to really mess with the competitors too much. I wanted to make sure I stayed out of their way, and for 2, at least on this particular run, I'm actually using my full-size DSLR, and so unfortunately I'm not able to fit it into some of the tight spaces that I was able to fit my smaller iPhone in for T's run. But making quick work of that gate number 5, as you could see, Thomas had no problem whatsoever getting through gate number 5 using a combination of front burn and dig. And here we're going, dropping off, controlling that throttle for gate number 6, making that look nice and easy. You got to think that the wheelbase on this is a bit wider than your typical Class 2 rig, so while T was able to just nicely fit into some of these gates, these are a bit of a tighter squeeze for Thomas. Now, if you don't remember what this gate looks like from below, this is a nasty one because the lower gate there forces you to make a right-hand turn off of this ledge, where most competitors ended up getting pushed into that lower cone. Thomas, with a good blip of the throttle there at the end, manages to avoid that lower cone and gets through that gate clean. Now we're headed through the bonus gate, and again, just super quick work. You can see his incredibly tight turn after that gate, and again, that's thanks to the fact that he can just lock up that rear axle and drag it with the front axle across, which is what he's doing right here to get himself lined up. And again, using way more we've got a little rear burn action there, bringing that rear around and making it through gate 9, making it look easy. Now you can see here kind of a different angle. You can see how wide Thomas is, he's actually got to work a little bit harder to get himself down this ledge clean, but he manages to do it just as T did. And now we're going to I'm going to spoil it for you. Thomas makes it through this gate number 10 clean as well, which means he cleaned this course. He got a -20, and he was in the 4-minute range. An absolutely incredible score, an incredible time from an incredible driver. So great job, Thomas from FABN801 with this MOA rig, showing us how it's done. Alright, so maybe it wasn't the most fair comparison, but hey, I'm not known for the most fair comparisons on this channel, so let's take a look at the final standings. Slut Crawlers, or T from Slut Crawlers, coming out with an 8 at 729.06, which is a fantastic score for a Class 2 truck on a Class 3 course, and then FABN801 crushing it with a negative 20 at a 429.34. Both of these drivers did absolutely fantastically, and I was very impressed with both of their driving, but I think that this might demonstrate to you the true difference between a Class 2, a typical Class 2 truck, something that you might even see in a Sorka competition. This isn't exactly Sorka legal, I don't believe, but it's pretty dang close, and this is kind of something that you may see in a Sorka competition or something similar to it. You know, a scale cage, we've got a winch, we've got a big bumper on front, all that sort of stuff, versus an MOA rig, which is just the bare minimum, doesn't at all look like a truck that a human could drive, but at the same time is something really incredible, a feat of engineering, if you will, and really shows the capabilities of these little scale trucks. So I hope that you enjoyed these runs. I know that I certainly enjoyed watching them myself, and I don't know that you would have necessarily learned anything during this video, but I hope you at least enjoyed it, and if you did, you made it to the end of the video, so go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to High Noon Hobby if you want to see more content like this every Friday and Sunday, and we'll see you on the next upload. Alright, have a good one, have a good one, have a good one, enjoy your trailing, your wheeling, your scale trailing, whatever you're doing. Enjoy it. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye now.